morning.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Glad it's Friday. I mean, it's been lovely, but it's been very, very intense.
Absolutely. You need to decompress next week, don't you? And just start processing everything. And yeah.
Oh, Georgina, by the way, here is warm, so you can see it now. So the world is mat has turned up.
I love it. We've got to put that in the collection. Going in. Oh man, I feel like the smallest little additions to the festival are the bits that are making the most fun.
I'm looking forward to the awards.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Shall I introduce Georgina, or have you met her?
And introduce yourself. We'd like to know who you are as well, please.
For me? Oh,
Yeah.
you know who I am. Yeah.
Lovely Sarah Logan.
Yeah. Of Next Steps Tutors. Yeah, so I'm hosting today, but I think I don't need introductions because we've met Georgina all week, and you know what a top quality person she is now. I am going to mention that today we're sponsored by Tutor, and they've got a fantastic offer of a 60-day free trial just for us. They don't normally do that. I think it's normally a 30-day free trial, but we've got 60. So do take advantage of that and just have a look around, see if that's going to work for you. And welcome this morning, Georgina, who is going to do something amazing. She's going to show us how to double our output, double our output for half the input, which is passive income. She's going to show us how to create passive incomes, which is a massive bonus if you can do that whilst tutoring as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. In the chat.
We were just talking about the benefits of that. Essentially what happened is everyone shared all of their ideas about what they were going to present with Julia, and she just gave them all magical titles. It was making them sound so much more exciting. I love that. So yeah, today's session is around passive income, how things can become hopefully a bit less overwhelming, because selling time for money as a tutor can quite easily fill up your calendar, fill up your brain, and become very difficult to manage. So it's helpful to make sure that we're balancing our income streams essentially. Okay, so let's have a look at what's on plan. Well, I think you heard most of these things about me. So my background isn't actually in teaching. I qualified as an analytical scientist in 2007, which seems like a very long time ago now, since none of my current students were even born. And now I'm a STEM tutor because those are the things that I have a big interest in. I set up the tuition company back in 2012, whilst also working in a pharmaceutical company. So wasn't massive amounts of extra time available at that point. So very early on, I started bringing in other tutors who had the very same background as me. When we all went into lockdown, and I realised that not everybody had the same experience that I'd had through that mixture of tuition and working in a corporate environment of online connectivity, delivering sessions online and using collaborative tools. I set up a group to share a lot of what I'd learned with other teachers, and then realized that tutors want this information too. Not everybody works in the same way, so it's very helpful to have that collaboration. And I think we've all realized through the course of this week that communities make a massive difference to your growth. Learning from each other makes a big difference. Besides that, the rest of my time is spent drinking tea and cuddling small animals, which I imagine you've seen me do both of those things this week. Okay, so what are we talking about today we're going to go through an idea of what passive income is, because you may or may not have heard of it, but sometimes people hear different versions of what it is. And then if you were interested in setting up passive income streams, how would you choose what to do, what to focus your energy on, and then figure out who that product is for, and then where you're going to find them, and then a little bit of guidance on how you can use some tech to make your life easier doing that. So first up, to kind of offset potentially a bit of a passive income myth, it doesn't mean that you're not doing any work. Unfortunately, that would be amazing, but I think we all do actually enjoy what we do. We just run out of time doing it. So the passive element doesn't mean that you're not doing any work. It's just that you're not selling your time directly for money anymore. So that's usually the way service businesses like ours work. We sell our hours for a fixed rate, and then when we run out of hours, there's nothing more to do. So that's where the passive element comes in. There's actually quite a lot of work involved in the process. So sorry if you're hoping that this is going to be a quick fix, but a lot of the time the work is kind of at the front end, and once you've put in that effort, you can benefit from your hard work for a lot longer. I love it. I mean, I feel like this guy would get on very well in the van there with you and Fintech. So yeah, you could potentially free up some time further down the line. So it is worth that upfront investment of your time and potentially some money as well. Where did this term actually come from? I was curious to know that myself, so I did a little bit of internet researching, and the earliest thing that I could find was this guy called Henry George, who lived in the 19th century. He was an American political economist and a journalist. So his writing was really popular in America in the 19th century, and he sparked several reform movements of the progressive era. He also inspired the economic philosophy known as Georgism, unsurprisingly, after himself. So that was the belief that people should own the value that they produce themselves, but that the economic value derived from any land, natural resources, should belong equally to all members of society. Which possibly sounds like some modern day philosophies we've had. But yeah, that was the most relevant idea I could see about where passive income came from. Obviously, that was a very different landscape to the one we're talking about today. So if you wanted a passive income stream, what do you actually need? So you need to know what your actual idea is. What are you actually offering people? And that will be unique to the person, unique to each of you. Everyone will have a different idea. And I say that fully understanding that lots of people on the face of it are doing the same thing. So lots of people are running group lessons, lots of people are selling resources, lots of people are coaching. It's not the same because each of them do it in a different way. Each of them has got something different to bring to the table. Each of them serves a slightly different audience. So your idea will be unique to you, and working out why that's the case is a big part of why it's going to be impactful. Your idea then needs to have a specific audience. So who is going to benefit from this idea, and who can you best serve? Who do you most want to work with? And that's going to be your audience. And then how are you going to find that audience? Where are they? And how are you going to bring them into your world? Is essentially setting up a sales funnel, because ultimately bringing these people into our world isn't about physically going out and having conversations with people. Most of the time that would look a bit weird. So it's probably going to be some sort of online tool, bring them onto your website, into your group, somewhere that they can actually communicate with you long term, learn more about you and what you do and what you offer. And then a platform to deliver that through. So if it was a group session, it would be where are they going to find their resources and how are they going to access their lesson? If you were producing resources to buy, how are they going to buy those from you through your website and not make loads of extra work for you to provide those? Setting up the kind of platform around delivering everything that you'd planned in your idea. So we'll go through each of those things, starting with some goal setting. I'm going to stop share for a second, because to do this, I want to share with you a spreadsheet, obviously. Because it's me. Okay, so I've put that in the chat, but I know that everyone has different views on spreadsheets. Not everybody looks at a spreadsheet and gets the joy that I do. So I will show you what the intention is with this. So it's to set some ideas of goals. Whilst it's not all about the money, we all do have bills to pay. So you probably have an idea of how much money you need to comfortably live at the moment. And that can be your financial goal. Also, you might not be just looking to live comfortably. If you've got other goals, if you want to live comfortably and go on holiday and get a bigger house and give your daughter a horse, whatever your goal is, that will affect your income goal, right? So there's no judgment. In fact, you don't even have to share. So you can put whatever you want into that spreadsheet. First up, I've shared with you a link, so you're going to probably want to make a copy. So if we go on File, Make a Copy, you can add a copy to your own Google Drive or File and Download, and you can have a copy on your computer so that you can play with it. Because otherwise we'll all be editing the same document and that won't go very well. So make yourself a copy of this and then start having a think about the goals that you would like to put in there. So there are some numbers in here just to give you an idea of how it works, but basically everything that's this lilac color can be edited. So say your goal was 50,000, there we are. After tax, that means you probably actually have to be earning, your turnover would need to be 71,000 to make sure that you actually kept the goal that you wanted. We have this, how many months are you selling? Because if your lessons go anything like mine, they tend to be a lot quieter over the summer, and I like to take 2 weeks off at Christmas anyway, so I know that pretty much 2 months of the year I'm not really going to be doing lessons, so I edit that. You don't have to. If things don't change, you don't have to change that. You can make it 12 months. And how many hours would you like to be working each week? If you wanted to go for the full-time, 40 or less, 20, whatever you're happy with. I would encourage you not to go for more than 40. I know some people that work for like up to 60 hours a week, but there's more to it than the hours that you work. And as we've learned through this week, we are supposed to be looking after ourselves as well. If you overload your schedule, then you're not going to be able to serve anybody. So don't be too ambitious with it. I say this because sometimes once you've filled in those top numbers, what happens down here might be a little bit daunting. So it might look like it's unachievable. Don't be put off by that. So these are all adjustable. So I've put in some examples of what you might do if you're doing one-to-one tuition and you're doing 60 hours a month. You can put in your hourly rate and have an idea of how much of your income is going to be. I think that's calculated as hours. Yeah, hours times rate. That's how much you would be making off of tuition each month. So there's a little bit of a calculation of how much you're making off of the time for money income streams that you have, and that then gives you how much is left to supplement to make up your financial goal with passive income. And I've put some ideas about the things that you might do with your passive income streams and how you could balance those out to reach your goal, right? So have a play with those and set some goals. So we have a little how many do we have on the call? Should we do a breakout rooms or come off mute? Let's go for a couple of breakout rooms, shall we? And then you can perhaps give each other some ideas and probably end up with more ideas than if we were all together. Should we go for pairs, breakout rooms in pairs? Yeah. Just seen the comments in the chat. Perfect. I can come into the rooms, and if there's any questions with the spreadsheet, I know not everybody's a fan. That's fine. Put in the spreadsheet though. But it's easier to fill it in when there's something already to start from, but completely take it all out and start again if you prefer. Yeah.
And sorry, we weren't sure about the tutor contractors either.
Oh right, having contracted tutor team.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Did anybody have any of the ideas that they wanted to share? I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but I know there were some good things being discussed.
I think we came up with ebooks and courses before we, or at least I properly read the spreadsheet. Also, if we could wondered if we could do something with resources, you know, in terms of selling our resources, worksheets, and other resources that we use.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, perfect. Put them on a website. Well, there's websites that already exist purely for that purpose, so that you don't have to build your own. Yeah. Did anybody else have any ideas they wanted to share? Yeah. Perfect. Making videos on YouTube so that you can monetize them once you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched in a year. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, accidental lead magnet. That was what you were talking about earlier in the week. That, yeah, how to hire a tutor would be very useful, and I know lots of people would benefit from that. And a book. To start charging, I mean, it depends because if you have that whole idea plan that you want to, you're offering it as a lead magnet at the moment to build your audience, that you would then deliver it as a webinar. The content is potentially the same, but you delivering it as a webinar is another product. It's a different product. And then as a book, obviously, is a much more detailed product. So you could charge at all of those stages different price points. But yeah, if you're using the lead magnet to grow your audience, that's ideally free. And then yeah, later on charging.
It's entirely accidental at the moment. I've posted in a local Facebook group. I've already had 3 requests for it.
That's how the best things happen.
Yes, now I've got to build the website, or at least the Facebook page, and the name of the tutoring company that I'm rebranding as. So it's a tail wagging dog.
Yeah, I think that's where the best ideas come from, necessity. So that's absolutely fine. And yeah, name can be your name.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So Teach IT, a good place to go if you don't mind later. Is this for selling resources? Teach IT.
Yeah, you don't sell them on there. You upload them and then you get royalties over from their thing. But you have to submit it in a very specific format, and then they basically own your content and reformat it in their sort of house style, and then you get a check sort of every 6 months or a year or something like that. So it's a small amount. I mean, I think I've got about 10 resources on there, and I probably get 150 quid or something once a year. So it's it's all right. It's good, you know, considering it just sits there and I haven't uploaded anything new for ages. It's nothing to complain about.
No, lovely. Amazon affiliates, yeah, perfect. You have to apply for an Amazon affiliate account, but they gave me one based on my Instagram channel, so I don't think there's a very, very strict application process, and then you can earn commission off of Amazon linked products, so recommendations for the things that you use for your tutoring, recommendations for books, all that sort of thing. Teachers pay teachers, yeah, it's similar to sounds like similar to Teach It and similar to TES and Etsy, same idea. And CGP resource creators, perfect. That would be a lot of fun. I love CGP books. I love a cheesy joke. Perfect. Okay.
They've got a new resource. I don't know if they've done secondary, but it's CGP Live or something like that. And it's like a massive resource bank. And they've been sending out emails saying, please make resources for us. So if you're primary orientated, then, you know, definitely have a look. And all you have to do is like give them like a rough outline, and then they CGP-itize it.
Yeah.
Just invented a word there.
See their lovely drawings and things. Ah, I love it. They have just randomly, that one of the GCSE maths CGP revision guides that I've been using for a long time, potentially some of you guys have seen the same thing, on the page where they explain the sine and cosine rules, one of the triangles has just got a goat in the picture for no reason. There's no reference anywhere else on the page to the goat. There's just a goat in the triangle. And now that my student remembers those rules as the goat ones. These things work. I love it. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Okay. Did anybody have any other ideas that they wanted to share? Go back to the... No, perfect. Yeah, do, if you wanted to share stuff in the chat, do go for it. I'm sure other people will find it very helpful, but let's continue through the slides. So we've got some ideas. I think everyone's got an idea at least for what they wanted to do, and it is probably a good idea to start with one. If you've got several and you need to choose what you would like to do, have a think about what you really feel the most excited about doing, because you're potentially going to spend a lot of time and energy and possibly money setting this up. So if you're not excited about it, your enthusiasm is going to run out before you're finished. So do make sure that it's something that you're going to enjoy doing, something that you're quite happy to talk about every day, something that's going to be a lot of enjoyment for you. Because potentially you're going to have a lot of customers wanting you to talk about it. You don't want to get sick of it. Something that you're very enthusiastic about. Something that that's probably the more important. Alongside that, do you feel like it's something that you can find enough customers for? Do you feel like it's something that's profitable for you? Because the chances are, if you're enthusiastic and excited enough to be able to talk about that every day for the next year, you'll be able to find enough other people who are, but it's worth having a consideration about how you can make that profitable enough for you to invest that time. Some extra suggestions. Yeah, I don't feel like you're going to need these because you already suggested lots of things. So group classes and courses are essentially turning what you're doing one-to-one into a more one-to-many approach. So how you can do that same thing in a different way. It is quite different though. I don't actually like doing group lessons. I really like working with students one-to-one. I feel like I've lost a lot of the connection when there's a group, and because they're all teenagers, they tend to, well, my experience has been that they tend to approach it with the same view that they do when they're in the classroom, and they don't feel like they have to answer the question unless I specifically pick on them. I'm not really a fan. I like working one-to-one, but doing the session in a completely different way, balancing the delivery of the lesson with online resources perhaps, allows you to have that one-to-one time and a connection with each of the students, but you can provide them with a lot more, and therefore not necessarily have to give them so much of your one-to-one time. However you prefer to do it, it works for you. I know a lot of people that set up subscription boxes that have gone fantastically well, worth having a go, but it is a lot of regular effort. A lot of regular effort to be able to put together a regular subscription box of the same value and provide to all of your audience. If that's something that you're interested in doing, I think just by pure luck, there's a lady that's running a challenge on it. Let me just double check my brain, because that is literally pure luck that I saw someone talking about it this week. Her name's Lauren Prentice, and I know she is running a challenge. I just don't know if the timing has worked out this perfectly. Lauren is, yeah, the businessbox.co.uk is doing a subscription box challenge currently. So you can go and have a look at how you could make a subscription box work for you. That's worked out far too well. Put that in the chat. So it's the businessbox.co.uk, and the lady running it is called Lauren Prentice. So it's essentially like, what more popular examples can I think of? People don't do post-op anymore, so much is online, but it's like maybe perhaps like a monthly delivery of physical things associated with a specific theme. So I think Lauren set up the business box, and you get fun stationery, a motivational business book, flyers from connected businesses so that she gets a little bit of extra commission, and perhaps like some chocolate or something in a box once a month. And the idea is it's things that you would enjoy as a self-employed person working from home, and it's connected with a specific theme, but it's just a nice treat. Yes. Subscription, that reminded me, yes, there was a subscription box for rabbits, but usually they're full of things that rabbits can't eat, so I didn't go for it. All sorts of different things that you can do. Or an ebook. People had suggested they would like to do ebooks, workbooks, and sell their resources online. So there's a couple of websites that you can do that with. And alongside the Amazon affiliates, there are various different ways that you can get an affiliate link. You can get an affiliate link for the Love Tutoring Festival. And if you write a blog about it and include an affiliate link, then that blog will be there infinitely, and people can potentially be buying through the links that you share, and you're getting commission for that. You do need a disclosure policy to be able to share those things, but there's one on my website because I did that, so you're very welcome to just copy it. It's not like there's anything particularly specific on there. Yeah, you can go and pinch it. Added an few extra notes here, so let's just make sure that I share these. So if you wanted to monetize YouTube, as Khaled was telling us earlier, there's a £100 threshold before you get any payments out, and you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of viewing. I think within the last 3 months I had here, but Khaled was saying a year, and it sounds like you probably spent more time researching that recently, so I'm going to go with what you said. And there's a, can I? Nope. Airbnbs or a lodger. If you have a spare room in your house, you can rent that out. I mean, if you have a lodger, there's not masses for you to do, but you are sharing your home, so that's not for everybody. Airbnb is a bit different, probably more effort but more flexibility. If you don't want a stranger in your home all of the time, you just take the room off Airbnb. If you're happy for them to be there, sometimes you add it back on, but you do have to go in. Potentially you'd have people there every weekend, and you have to go and change the bedding and clean the room and set it up again. So it's less passive, but something that I've done in the past. Selling things through Etsy and eBay, renting out parking space on Just Park, peer-to-peer lending. I think you get a lodger on the passenger seat there, Jack. Probably probably find some of that. Or so potential investment options in peer-to-peer lending, or for the under 40s, lifetime ISAs. There's probably various other investment opportunities that you could look into if you're that way inclined. There's a fair amount of risk associated with that, so if you're risk averse, you won't be a fan of investing. Yeah, the returns come from taking financial risk, so not for everybody, not for everybody. If you're stuck on how to make your choice, a circle like this is kind of what I was talking about before. So how much joy does it give you? How much profit can it give your business? How much value does it add for your customers? And if you find something that goes right in the middle of that Venn diagram, then that is the winner. Doesn't have to fill all of the boxes though. This is the most important one. Do you enjoy doing it? So the next most important thing is, if you've got your idea, who actually wants this idea? Who's actually going to want to buy this from you? So having a real clear picture of who that person is. I mean, to the point where if they were sat in the room with you now, you would recognize them, right? You would be able to pick them out of a crowd. So who is this person? What do they actually need? Can you have a conversation with them about the particular problems and the pain points they're having? Are they aware that they need it? Because they aren't always. How are you going to explain to them how your product solves their pain points? Why are they going to actually buy that from you? What value is it going to add? And once you know who they are, where are you actually going to find them and show them that you're the person that they need to buy that solution from? So there's a fair amount involved in that question as well. Guess what? Ta-da! We can have a think about it. And because I love them, there is a worksheet essentially with a list of questions that you can answer to get to know your ideal customer a bit better. Yeah, so some who doesn't love a worksheet? We're a tutor. So some questions about their kind of lifestyle and interests, some questions around their problem, and some questions around how you can actually help them. There's 3 pages of questions on there, right? So you don't have to answer them all, but the more kind of clearer picture you can get, the better. So we have we can have the same breakout rooms, or yeah, similar idea, and I can come and help answer some questions. Fab. Okay, how did you get on? People have like a good idea of who they're looking for, who's actually going to benefit from their product. I mean, potentially it's something that you've done before, but it's always worth having a review. I try and do that every so often anyway, because I think you learn more about the person, or potentially change what you're doing from time to time. So yeah, worth doing regularly. And if you really have no idea, customer research, do some surveys, ask people questions and see what they want, and ask the customers that you already have who are a perfect fit. You can ask them about, you know, where do they hang out, what sort of things excite them. You can ask more of those questions to fill in a clearer picture for them, just as a random example of why that's worthwhile. My customers are usually mothers of 14-year-old teens who are anxious about their GCSEs but don't really know how to study, so they tend to avoid the problem rather than doing anything about it. And most of the time these mums there should be a link in the chat, Lucy, I'll add it again. Most of the time these mums, their the husband is some big busy executive or traveling salesman, or someone that's not really at home very much, or when they are at home they're not really present like mentally, so the mother tends to do all the admin. That's what I found is most of my customers. And when I asked them random questions about the sorts of things that you're interested in, I mean, given that picture this might not be surprising, but I found that their 2 main interests were gin and family holidays. Amazing. That wouldn't have been my first assumption, but having discovered that they were big into gin and family holidays, the things that I offered alongside, I would say, like for XYZ, for a referral, send you a bottle of gin, give you a voucher for a family holiday. And they were big into that. So when you learn these things about your families, it's very helpful. Exactly. Talking about gin cocktails. They loved it. Sorry, what was I saying, Jane?
I thought you said gym.
Oh, some of them like the gym, but they probably prefer the gin.
Can't believe that they admit that.
Not personally. So this was when, unfortunately, you're not allowed to do it anymore. Fair enough. It was kind of improving the privacy restrictions on Facebook, but you used to be able to get, I can't remember what the word is, but you could see information about the people that followed your page, not specifically, but percentages. So what were the top interests? Where do they mostly live? Are they university educated? What's their income? That kind of thing. So the top interests, the top 10 were all related to gin and family holidays. Perfect. That's the word, demographics. Thank you, Sarah. Very, very insightful. Okay, so we've got a clear idea of what we want to do and who we are providing it to now. So that will be really, really helpful going forward. We'll be able to use that a lot more. How are we going to bring these people into our audience now? Lucy, you mentioned earlier about your idea of a lead magnet. So having that if you've not seen that before, I think probably some of you have. So a lead magnet is how you're bringing people into your audience. So if your audience was on a mailing list or in a Facebook group, why are people going to join? So it's something that you can offer them straight up, which might be a PDF, it might be a consultation call, it might be a video resource, anything that you think those people would want straight away. Some sort of template. Mine for GCSE families, it's a revision template, but with a step-by-step how to use it, so that the parent can go through it with the child if they're not keen to do it. And then the likely outcome of that is that the parent's going to try and go through that with the child. They're going to have an argument, and then they're just going to ask me to do it for them. So it works quite well as a lead magnet. Yeah. So the idea is you offer them something, and that would be what you would post in Facebook groups, on social media, when you're doing calls with people, everywhere that you are, you would share that you have this resource with them. If you build back to that conversation that we had earlier in the week around sales, it will be something that you can offer a customer who's perhaps not keen to buy today as a, well, this might help you solve the problem in the short term. And then they're added to your mailing list, or they're invited to join your Facebook group, and they'll continue having that conversation with you, and they'll continue hearing about the value that you offer and the experience that you have, and lovely testimonials and the happy customers that you have on results day at the end of the year. And over time, they will, I don't know why all of these are number one, literally just spotted that. No, we don't do counting here. Relevant. Over time, they can turn into customers, and if they're not interested, then they're not the customer for you anyway, and they will leave the audience. So you would invite them to join your mailing list by offering them something in return. I've just said all of those things, perfect. So once they're on your mailing list, they would be, you can set up automation that sends them a series of emails. So for mine, I was noticing that I was getting parents join and students join and tutors join. So I set up an automation that when they signed up, they immediately got the lead magnet that I'd offered, this revision planning guide with the step-by-step, which ends with the, if you would like some help setting this up, book this revision planning call, which of course they're going to want by that point. And then the next email that they get is, why have you requested this resource? I'm interested to learn a bit more about you. Are you a parent? Are you a student? Or are you a tutor? And they would self-identify, and the automation tags that contact. That's in MailChimp, but it works in all of these. It tags that contact as a parent, a student, or a tutor. And then they receive a series of 5 emails daily after that that offers them value based on that thing. So if they're a parent, discussion around the challenges of parenting a student through their GCSEs, some suggestions about how they can help, and interspersed in there a little bit about me and how they can work with me. And for the student, I direct them to some videos that I've got on YouTube that can help them with their revision. I give them some morale boost with the fact that, you know, everybody struggles. It's fine to ask questions, collaborate with your colleagues, with your friends at school, they'll help you. And if you want some help, here are some ways that you can have some tuition. And for a tutor, I say, you don't need my help planning a revision guide, but would you like to come and join this Facebook group for tutors? Because they don't really need my help planning a revision guide. They probably just wanted to know what it looked like. So something like that can be set up quite easily. And if you didn't use a mailing list, you could probably do something similar through Facebook groups by setting up guides that take them through a specific process, but share how they can work with you. And yeah, things like that would be perfect. I love it. Okay. And then the sales funnel in general. So what I've described is essentially a sales funnel, but can sound daunting when you initially see sales funnel as your to do. So the idea is the funnel comes from the suggestion that you start off with the audience of, well, I mean, start off with the audience of the entire world, but the people who are interested in the specific message that you're sharing on social media and elsewhere and on your website, they're the ones that are going to like actually be hooked by whatever you're talking about and have any response to what you've shared. So maybe claim your lead magnet or sign up to your mailing list or join your group, and then they're in your awareness pool and until they've done that. So the people that are seeing what you're sharing, who see your social media posts, are your awareness market, and if they take any action to join your audience, they come and sign up to your mailing list, and then they're interested in what you offer, right? Those people need to be communicated with in a specific way. They're interested in whatever you shared as the awareness. Then what you share has to actually be relevant to what you said on social media, because if that's what got their interest and then you send them an email about something completely different, they're going to be very confused and leave. So make sure that the message that you shared is relevant. If they click on a link to a lead magnet, what follows is connected to that, right? So you communicate relevant messages. sending them then after your potentially your funnel of messages or your conversation to a sales page or a consultation call or something a bit more specific, one-to-one, about how you're going to offer them a specific solution to their specific problem, is going to direct them towards that final action of being your customer, buying your online tool, signing up to your group classes, accessing your course, or following your YouTube channel, or whatever your ideal goal was. That essentially is the end. So this is the Facebook group for tutors that I mentioned earlier, and the website I did share with you earlier, so that you could go and pinch my disclosure policy if you wanted to write affiliate blogs, or you're very welcome to email any questions, because I realised that we've gone. We've not done very well at keeping to time today. Does anybody have any questions? If you do need to leave, absolutely fine to do so, and you can email questions later or ask them in the community. What's up, Lucy?
Can you just put that last slide up again, please?
Yeah, sure.
I'm lazy.
That's okay.
How important do you think it is if you're, I mean, I suppose I'm thinking about the lifespan of the things you create for the passive income. You know, is a lifespan of 2 or 3 years reasonable, or
Absolutely.
is it something you, well, obviously you're going to have to change it if they change the specification for the exams, if you're doing resources and things like that, that's for sure. I mean, sort of, I suppose I'm wondering how often you have to go and tweak it or adapt it, maybe once every 6 months.
Possibly, it does depend what it is, but
Yes.
so like I've got recordings of lessons that I've put into different packages, because some things are quite generic. So if I've got an explanation of how to do arithmetic with fractions, that's going to be useful for Key Stage 3 students. That'll be useful for some GCSE students. It'll be useful for every curriculum, and possibly some adults would use it. So things like that you probably wouldn't have to tweak. No, that method is never going to change. If you've got a guide to the AQA A-level biology exam, you might want to have a look at that every year.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any other questions? I don't want to leave. Yeah, there's another session starting at 11, which I'm part of, so I do need to be there by 11.
Will I leave and set that one up?
I think Jack's off to do that.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone. Yes, I think he's there. Okay. Right,
Yeah.
I'll do the same now. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay.
Yeah. I'll stick my email address in here actually. So if you do have additional, not to Jack's not here, he won't care. To everyone, if you have any questions, you're very welcome to send them and ask, and obviously you can join the Facebook group, and there's all sorts of things in there. I feel very bad that we've gone right to the end of time, but yeah, very happy to answer more questions.
Thank you, Georgina, for an amazing
No problem. No problem.
I'd like to have a chat with you at some point as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, come on over to the free event link. We're going to be talking about using Facebook groups for business, so possibly.
Yeah.